What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. People are freaking out over what seem to be more meme-ish cards to me. Yes, the potential threat is there to game design through these cards, but let's actually break it down and talk about it. Draw of Destiny here, I think, is threatening, but is probably not going to break the game because it's very specific in its conditions and restrictions. But let's talk about why people are freaking out. Draw of Destiny is a normal spell card, and you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. Well, I don't think it would matter too much if you could activate multiple because of its effect. If your life points are lower than your opponent's, and your opponent controls a monster that has the highest attack on the field, even if it's tied. So let's break that down. You have to be losing in life points, and they must have a monster. For the rest of this turn after this card resolves, you cannot set spell and trap cards, and you can only activate a card slash effect one time. Also, reveal 3 cards with different names from your deck, and if you do, shuffle them and return them to the top of the deck, then draw 1 card. So you're supposed to kind of put them randomly on top. Yikes, this is a cluster of a card. So basically, you're going to guaranteed get one of your random 3 cards, place 2 on top, and you're only going to be able to activate 1 effect. But if you've lined the field for Saryuja and given your opponent a grinder golem, which, mind you, is searchable, I believe it's that magical contract door or something like that, you're able to set up to where you'll draw Exodia! Okay, so like, Exodia is not an effect that activates, it's a win condition. That's not the biggest deal here, and I get that it can cause crazy setup. People are talking about getting the Solemns to the top in Saryujing and doing that kind of stuff. So there is a huge payoff, and Grinder Golem's been a problem before, but I don't see this card being problematic because of that first condition. If your life points are lower than your opponent's. This isn't going to be a turbo out crazy card. Yes, you're going to witness some insane comebacks. You're going to hear Lithium say Grinder Golem. You're going to see Mega Capital G probably do a couple of crazy replays. But for this card, it's not going to be meta breaking, I don't think. When you actually look at another similar card that had a restriction that was problematic, Emerging Emergency Rescue has an insanely amazing payoff. But the problem is, your life points need to be lower than your opponent's to activate this. For getting some of the most amazing cards out of the game guaranteed, it failed. It really had that high up potential, but that clause alone has kept this out. And its payoff is, I would argue, nearly as big as this. Yes, this can be game winning, but Rescue Cat, Rescue Rabbit, like, those are pretty game winning. So we look at Draw of Destiny, my personal take on it. I think people are over the top reacting to an initial effect because they don't like the game design. They don't like that it could threaten the game in some way, shape, or form. But getting your life point lower than your opponent's, are you going to draw your one of upstart and be really cool that way? Yeah, there's plenty of ways to find ways to pay costs. A hero lives. Oh my gosh, there goes half. That's at 1-2 now. Like, you're gonna have trouble getting there consistently and continuing with your turn to turbo it out while risking drawing into this card. Like, it's just not there overall because of that very first line. And the second line makes you play very specific cards that they could hit even further if it did become a problem. And I do see the problem where, like, oh man, this could really hurt the game, but currently, no, and I don't think there will be a point in game design where, like, you're able to consistently just drag yourself down like that. Like, do it over and over and over and actually inflict the meta. But I've been wrong before, so what do you guys in the comment section down below think of this? Because this is kind of the big release before we get to the meme release that everyone's really excited about, too. Assault Mode 0! Who's ready for a Crimson Crisis callback? Big yikes, this is actually really cool. So Assault Mode 0 is a quick play spell card, and you can use each effect among the first and second effects with this card's name only once per turn. We're almost a decade too late here, but let's read it. Tribute a Synchro monster, special summon from your hand one /Assault Mode monster whose name includes the tributed monsters. This is treated as a special summon with Assault Mode activate. Like, we're going way back. We'll explain Assault Mode activate for you guys who are newer to the game. For you, those of you who might have come during the Pendulum or Xyz era and never even heard of these cards, besides looking at Ghost Rares on Market Watch. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard and set an Assault Mode activate from your hand to your deck, and if you do, it can be activated this turn. I really actually like that this card has no restrictions there. You're able to basically get the decks doing what they were meant to do, and you have options for non-extra deck monsters, extra deck monsters. It's really actually something kind of special. So, Red Dragon Archfiend Assault Mode. Let's go actually to the Market Watch layout real quick. Red Dragon Archfiend Assault Mode, it's sitting up there. I expect some meme prices actually tomorrow. I'm not encouraging it. It's just bound to happen because this is genuinely like kind of busted. You have the Stardust, which I think is actually probably the most impactful. You have Arcanite. I don't know that people are going to be synchroing and going it, but Stardust Dragon / Assault Mode. Let's read together, shall we? This card cannot be normal summoned or set. This card cannot be special summoned except with its own effect or with the Assault Mode activate. You can tribute this card to negate the activation of a spell card, trap card, or affect monster's effect and destroy that card. If you negate an effect this way, you can special summon this card from the graveyard during the end phase, so immediate recursion. When this card on the field is destroyed, you can special summon a Stardust Dragon from your graveyard as well. So basically, it takes care of itself. It's kind of a cheaper way into a big ol' negate, and now that we have a quick play to go into it, I can see some viable splashes here. And let's actually look at Assault Mode Activate to see where this kind of failed in the past. Assault Mode. Well, we'll just look at that. And then Activate. Live editing done real quick and cheap. So there's only 2 copies. I imagine in the TCG we'll see another copy, maybe an OTS pack or a similar product, because this is actually coming out in a core set. It's coming out in Dane, so we're going to need that, Konami. But Assault Mode Activate, plenty cheap right now, plenty of copies. This actually used to be $1 common, I believe. And we look, tribute a Synchro monster. You special summon 1 /assault monster whose name includes the tributed monster's name from your deck in attack position. So basically, you can get them out of the main monster zone, or extra monster zone to the main monster zone with the /assault mode monsters, and you're able to continue to do wacky and crazy things. I really like this, and I do think it's really cool that this will be able to activate right away, helping you turbo out these monsters. It is a missing link, but it's interesting because it does give some viability to splashing maybe some of these crazy things and decks just naturally having them, but there's still that part where you're gonna need to have that card in your hand. So being able to turbo and play that, I'm gonna say it's a no from me on viability on this as well for the competitive scene, but will we see some casual decks do really cool and fun things with it? Yes, I just think you have a natural stunting of this card's ability. Actually, there's Assault Beast too. Let's read that card real quick. I remember this actually being decent. He's not terrible. He's a 1900. You can discard this card from your hand to the graveyard and add an Assault Mode activate. Oh, he turboed out your win condition. That's why I felt like if he could add any of them, that would be really darn cool. But hey, dreamers don't equal memers, ? And finally, a synchro card, and its restrictions are pretty rough. We've got Umbria. What? Umbria. How do I say this without being demonetized? Couple. Level 3 water spellcaster tuner effect monster. Attack 500, defense 1500. When this card is normal summoned, you can discard a card, then target 1 level 4 or lower monster in your graveyard. For the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon monsters from your extra deck except synchro monsters. Also, special summon that monster in defense position, but negate its effects. It honestly, cutely, even though it's a different set, kind of goes with that because you can go into like Arcanite and then Assault or whatever. You're not summoning from the extra deck, but I don't know, the restriction feels too great to me to really validate it, because if you normal summon it, its effect is on normal summon, so it's like you can't really do too much either with the Seraph Knight unless you're synchroing with this too into it. And it's just, whenever you have a normal summon clause on a card, it's balanced, feels good, man. Doesn't mean it's gonna break its way in. But let me know if you're gonna maybe consider this for the Black Rose deck, be it by art. Rim and Ram, is that you? No, it's a dude. It's not our ReZero people. But definitely, I think it's interesting that they're focusing so much on the past with other cards like our new Assault Mode card, Assault Mode 0. It's very interesting, this duelist here. And then also, I feel like people overreacted to this, but I do see with game design, yeah, it's a scary thing that could be happening to us all. Saryuja is a heck of a card. I don't think we're gonna see too many shenanigans with this in the meta itself. Hey, I'll eat my words if I'm wrong. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed the conversation, even if you disagreed with me, and let me know down below. Do you think this will see some kind of meta play?